Gumskool is just me. So I guess a lot of people ask like how that name came about, but it was basically I was in school and I used to really like these you know the vans, the old school vans had the stripe on it, and there used to be like a gum sole on them. I think like the Golf Ranks had that. I don't know, I was obsessed with them, so I bought like every color and every pair. Not the Golf Ranks, just the old school vans. And then whenever I used to say them, there would be like old school gum sole vans, but then I accidentally one time just said Gumskool vans, and I was like, Gumskool. It just kind of had a flow to it, had like a, I don't know, it came off the tongue well. So then I just made my Instagram account that for some reason, and I just left that as my handle. I do a bunch of graphic design and different work around that, so it can be merch, it can be posters, it can be cover arts. Most of the time it's just me. Sometimes I will bring on some friends if I need help, or I think they can do a better job than I can. Sometimes I'll bring in some guys to do illustration, and so generally it's me, but sometimes it's a team of people as well. I think it must have started when I was a lot younger, like maybe like 12, 13, and honestly it started, I think, for a lot of people in that YouTube space where everyone was trying to become a YouTuber and they were making those like banner arts on the top. I was trying to become a Minecraft YouTuber, so I had like to make my own banners. I started like learning Photoshop so I could create the artwork for it, and then I just found myself like really enjoying it. And then next thing I know, I started just watching loads of videos about like Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, and how to use that. At the time, the people that were needing artwork were people who made music. I actually started a similar time around Loza when he started directing, so we kind of, generally speaking, Herb and Loza did a video for I could do a bit of artwork for, because I'd probably need a cover up, and then it kind of just progressed and progressed from then on. So there was a group called ESC Plan, or it still is now, Escape Plan, and that involves a bunch of people like so Loza and Kwezi and Phil and a bunch of other people. That all started in Canterbury in Kent, not in London, and then a bunch of them, I'd never moved to London, but everyone else pretty much moved to London after school for university and to pursue like directing on music or whatever it was they were doing. So then for instance, Jim is from London and he's always lived there, but then we were from Canterbury and everyone moved there. Obviously I had a lot of mutuals with Jim and I loved his music. I think I first met him a few years ago at a barbecue. There's a brand called Peak Television and they host like these barbecues, and I think I first met him there, and I think it was actually his birthday coincidentally. And then I think maybe 2 years later, we have a big Discord of everyone in there. I guess we're just talking on Discord one time, and then Jim was needing artwork for either it was the screen title for the Stick video or a different video, I can't remember. There's been a few now in this timeline. And then there was also the Stick cover art, which is like the crazy one with like Bowie, and it's got like his dog with the smart, like going, it's just such my brain one. It's a fried cover art. It's hilarious. But yeah, so we did that first, and then we went on to do Black British music, and we did most of it on Discord. So that whole thing came about just being on Discord really, and just talking through there actually. Jim's actually like a graphic designer. Like he can be a graphic designer. So that's one thing. He's an artist, but I think he's told me before that he actually wanted to be a graphic designer prior to being an artist. So when I was working with him, he has that design eye already. And so sometimes I'm like letting him just take leadership over it, and then I'm kind of like just making it happen on screen sometimes. And then sometimes he's laying back and I'm doing more of the work. But the ideas and like going back and forth was really collaborative with Jim, and he has like such powerful ideas and like really strong vision for what he wants. It was just a matter of making that happen for him. Yeah, he's also really amazing to work with. So I would say that's how he's different. Like, some artists may be more laid back and then you do your thing, but Jim was definitely really a part of that process, like majorly part of it. Every time we would work on that cover up, we were on call together. So those calls would last like 4 entire days, and late into the night, sleep, wake up, go again, just changing things, new ideas, different variations. Where I don't live in London, if I wasn't in London, I may have been able to go to the studio sessions a bit more, maybe hear what's going on. I think Jim would always like share snippets as he was making the music. So I heard bits and bobs. It wasn't until like I asked Jim for the Untitled link as I was making it. I was like, by the way, can I actually hear it? Because I just realized I haven't heard it. He's like, oh, no way. So then he just sent me the link, and then like I listened to the whole thing and I was blown away by it. And it also kind of helped inform my design a little bit more as we were going forward with it as well. So I had listened to it before it came out, but I think he did a lot of like track list switching, and some songs got added, some songs got removed. When I was working with him, I asked him some questions like, how do you want to encapsulate the emotions that are in this album, and how do you want to reflect on the cover art? And we had a few like topics and themes that were listed, written down as the ones we wanted to convey. And so obviously when I heard the album, I could hear how much of each of those emotions was present in the album, and how much of that is a running theme, and how far forward is that emotion, or how in the back is that, is like an undertone, or is that like straight at you, like this is a very parallel theme. We had like 2 quite strong references that we wanted to base off. We had a lot of versions even before coming towards these references. I had made like 3 different Pinterest boards, and we kept going to them and just not really creating some stuff from it. Nothing was really hitting. So there is a book cover reference which Jim did post on his story, Black British Culture Explored, and on it has these like squiggly lines that you'll see, those yellow squiggly lines that are on the cover art, which actually a friend of ours, Jan Squeezy, he had his iPad and pen. He was like, oh yeah, I can do the line work for you. And so that was kind of the referencing where we got the line work, was from this book cover. Jan also, I think, even took a lot of the pictures actually that are in the cover art, I think. on the back and then inside the case. And there were some other photographers as well, which forgive me for not knowing all of them. I think another one is a guy called Igor as well, and a bunch of his pictures are on there too. And there are some which are like screenshots just from Jim's BBM phone, and like just the pictures from the BlackBerry camera basically are on there too. So just a variation of all these different images from different cameras, essentially from different people. And like the color scheme, like you see that kind of black and white threshold and monochrome with like the strong red that came from like that fellow Kuti gentleman. So that's where we kind of got that idea also from. I guess maybe some guys think maybe like the Playboy Carti cover arts too, but it wasn't really that. It was more black, red and white, you know. Basically we were creating this composition of this collaging, but we didn't want it just to be like a free-fall. We kind of wanted some rule of thirds or some rigidity to it or some shape to it. And so then he was like, oh, like let's just do it in grids. So then we came up with like these 3 grids, and actually each grid represents a theme. So the top grid has the idea of like his environment and the culture around him, and then the middle one is to do with his family, and then the bottom one is to do with like self-perception and who he sees himself as. So like if you kind of look at them individually as just those 3 strips, you'll see those themes in the imagery that we use. So it's kind of telling the story of the album through the cover art. Intentionality behind the imagery on each row and the intended emotion or ideas that I was trying to convey. We obviously selected the imagery for that, but then you'll see that the casket, the flowers on that is the only thing that has color, because we're really trying to, and it's also central, very central to the image, and that's just homage to his sister and also the importance of that. And I think grief is a massive theme that's explored throughout the album as well. But like I said, the flowers are the only thing that has color, because we wanted to gravitate the significance towards that. And the colors are just, I don't know, they're beautiful. I love his dog so much, and we got like a running theme with Bingo going on. In that previous cover art stick, Bingo's on the front cover, so his dog's hilarious, so we just obviously had to include Bingo. And actually the guy on the top left, I photoshopped the 3 lions, which is what I'm wearing now, which is the logo from the England football shirt, and we put it on the bikini on the back with the Peak Television hat. So it's just like a stupid like kind of collage and just chaos, the mess of everything, but it's all kind of on brand. It's all about everything that the album is, and surrounding that kind of shows where he came from, who he is now, and also the question of who he's going to become. And then sometimes there'll be like, I remember Quez, he actually, I think he must have sent me a message saying like, yo, try the cover art in black, because originally the background was white and the content style was black. So then we made the background black too, and that one was way harder. So actually it was originally white, and Jim was like, yeah, this is much better. It was kind of funny because we had done the front and we're like, oh crap, we actually need a back cover art too, so we had to do this ASAP. Like just like the front cover art where it says Black British Music, that's my hand lettering, very inspired by the Jeffrey Barquier book cover as well. I just got my Wacom tablet and just started going at it with like a thick brush. And then equally on the back side of the cover art, I was like, yo Jim, let me just handwrite this as well. And so that's what we did. Obviously track list, the names of the songs are in red and the features in that yellow, which is the same as the line on the front. And then obviously we can see how many people are involved on this project. Some songs having more than like 5-6 producers, so you can see the collaborative effort that it was. And I'm pretty sure like all, if not 90 or more % of all the people on here are like Jim's friends, our friends. So I know most people who are on this hit too, Jim's family, and different motifs of London as well, like the bus stop. The hand lettering just brings that playfulness to it. Yeah, I think it was really weird. I was actually on holiday whilst kind of it came out. Yeah, just like seeing it everywhere was really weird for me, because I hadn't done cover arts for quite a while, so I kind of just started getting more cover art jobs, if that makes sense, because a lot of the work was merch or tour posters, which you're not going to see like on everyone's story. But because this was such a culturally important album and it was so anticipated and so amazing when it came out as well, is that it had such a reception and it had such a buzz, and it was so like almost trending everywhere, like as a conversation as well. I was going on the Twitter search and putting like Jim Legxacy cover art just to see what people were saying, because like I was just really interested in see what people's opinions were on it. Equally to like the stick cover art, because the stick cover art was just so, not controversial, but it was just a funny cover art, so people are gonna either hate it or they're gonna love it. It's just one of those ones, right? So I was wondering if it had like a same sort of reaction of people like not liking it, people liking it. But generally I think everyone did. And my Twitter is kind of broken, so when I would click like view like quote tweets, it would just appear empty. So I always kept trying, so I tried on my browser and I don't know, tried different things. I remember just some guy in Portuguese had just said, this is the best cover I ever seen, and it was in Portuguese. So I was like, you know what, that's so special to see someone from a different place, a different part of the world saying that. Then we have an entire ecosystem, people that work together on a daily basis, whether it be for music videos, whether it be for 3D VFX, whether it be for merch or cover arts. There's so many people, I couldn't even list them all, but you wanted me to like mention some names. Okay, so I would say for like graphic design and illustration and anything like that, I would say, so like Marty, it's a guy called Marty. I don't know everyone's Instagram handles, but he's amazing. He recently did some Pink Panther first single cover arts as well. And he did that alongside Sab, who's also quite kind of bigger in the States too, because he's done a lot of work for people in America. He's incredible at 3D, unreal. Two guys that are really incredible at illustration. It's a guy called Flatwell Toons. He lives locally to me. He's an amazing illustrator, and as well as someone I think is one of the most phenomenal like artists like with the pen is a guy called Mike, and he owns a brand called Book of Genesis. And I often work with those two guys whenever I need illustration work. Some things I can't necessarily draw that as well as those guys, and Mike is just unreal with even his like caricature drawings, the way he creates these scenes and everything that he does is amazing. So you definitely should check out his brand Book of Genesis and his work. And someone who I think is extremely versatile and he can literally do anything is a guy called Moy Digital. That guy can, I mean, he can do everything under the sun, literally. VFX, color grade, graphic design, illustration, logo, branding, anything you can think of, the guy can do it. And obviously Lozo for the video direction as well. And I know there's going to be a bunch of names I'm going to keep myself forgetting, but I think those are the ones that I can just name off the top of my head. Actually, recently I've really wanted to do work for Always, the brand Always. What you should do. I really want to do work for them. I think I just love their brand ethos, their brand messaging. I love all the design. I just love the authenticity of them. I love their work so much. I'd love to do some design for that brand. Actually, recently I've been really listening to that new Blood Orange album, Essex Honey, and I would really love to do some work for him. And I think also maybe like someone from the States, like MKG, I'd love to do some work for him. And here's a random one, Ralph Lauren. I've always just wanted to do something for Ralph Lauren. It's really random, but yeah, I'd love to do some work for them. I was actually talking to someone last night about this, a guy called Heens. He's a producer. But if anyone kind of asks like, how did you get into the space where you can work with the people that you want to work with, I actually say like work with your friends who are now and build up the team around you to that point, because all the guys that we currently are working with now, we've been doing that for like the last 5 years and they weren't the size they were now. That makes sense. I basically just worked with friends and people that I knew at the time maybe only had like a few thousand monthly listeners, and now they have 1 million. So the point is maybe not necessarily trying to go towards all the big stars you see you want to work with, but actually look left and right instead of looking up and go, oh, I've got my people around me, let's build each other up to the point where we are that, and actually people will want to work with us. And I guess the other thing is just be as authentic and real as you can in your work and as a person too, because I think a lot of this is actually not necessarily you about being the best graphic designer or having the best work, but actually just being the best person and being the best person to work with in terms of relationship, having that integrity about you as well. I think being transparent, I think that is much, maybe not necessarily more important, but I think it plays a huge part of being able to do that. And I think the experience of growing as a graphic designer, necessarily maybe getting more clients and more clients that you want, is actually more like a snowball effect where you have to be trusted with the little things first before you can be trusted with the big things. There's a verse in the Bible that says that. So I think that's really important, is just putting your 100% into the things you're doing right now, and eventually that will snowball into where you want to be later. I try to be more active on social media, but I'm really not good at it. I kind of just post my work on Instagram. I don't say or do too much outside of just posting my work. So my Instagram handle is at GVMschool with a K, but it should be Gumskool, but Instagram ages ago just deleted the account with my handle for some reason, so I had to make a new one. And then on Twitter it's just GUMSKOOL, Gumskool, or my website gumskool.com. But yeah, so basically that's where you can find me. I don't post too much outside of work, but I'll try to be a bit more active.